So what did you change when you actually decided that you were going to start building? What did you change about it?
So my whole career, I've always put it on paper. I've always drawn three-dimensional cross sections on paper in order to put pen to paper from my thoughts and from what I see, what I visualize in my design. So this place was my first design on a computer, and the computer program was not an elaborate program, however, or not an expensive program. However, it was very elaborate, and it allowed me to it allowed me to manipulate and cross section look through different elements of the project that I could actually refine the design and
So it was easier to work with,
a
and
lot
you could do
easier.
a lot more on it.
Yeah.
So what? So did you decide that you were gonna? You obviously, I know your taste. You decided you were gonna make it out of wood. I mean the siding is all solid wood, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's all Cape Cod siding on this house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is that? Is that pine? Do you know what it is?
Cape Cod is a pre-treated. I believe it's a pine siding. It could possibly be a spruce siding, but it's the oven bake process that they use for the finish. Is
Yeah, we had
what's
that on our cottage, and you've done that on a lot of cottages,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, and it stands up.
Yeah.
Like so, you every board, every cut, you paint the end cut, and if it's a miter or a lap joint and long running wall, then you paint both lap cuts and also put a glue adhesive on it. And
You
yeah,
know, a
it's a
while ago
good
you
finish.
talked to me about this was maybe a year or two now about how you were disappointed in the way some things were being built now. Is that you must have gotten a great deal of satisfaction out of building this the way you know it should be built. Would you think that this is built the old-fashioned way? Is that fair to call it that?
Definitely, definitely is. So my whole career was all kind of founded on quality build. I couldn't, I was going through the 90s and the 2000s, and there was so much competition up here that if you weren't good at what you did, then your name got around. And I'd never had a bad name in Muskoka ever, and I'm pretty sure you could ask anyone
Oh,
that
yeah,
I've
I
ever
know.
built for
Yeah,
whether
you've got
they
a great
enjoy their build.
reputation. Yep. So, what are the things that make this house a better build than? And I'm not trying to look to put anybody down. I just mean
Yeah.
the average. Like, so let's say somebody was looking at a all things being equal, another 10-acre property
Hmm.
with a really nice looking house on it that
Hmm.
was properly built.
Hmm.
But what are the little things that people wouldn't see unless they really knew what they were looking for that you've done here? For example,
Okay.
I mean, starting with the ICF, let's start at the bottom.
Okay. So with your foundation, you've got a set of footings. Doesn't matter if it's a block foundation, doesn't matter if it's ICF, even a pressure treated foundation, you still have a footing. This place, being ICF, offers a fantastic insulation value, but the footing is also 24-inch footing that is on bedrock the entire way. Every pier for all the decks, all the foundation is all on bedrock, and it is all pinned to bedrock with rebar.
Wow,
So
so it's not going anywhere
it's never
anytime
going to go
soon.
anywhere.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
will be here forever.
yeah.
And so then looking at that, you get into a drainage tile system, which is um, around every house. You have to have a weeping tile. You also need these. You also need eaves trough drainage tile, which is separate from your weeping tile that is around your home. In some situations, not always is all the pockets in bedrock accommodated. Sometimes the weeping tile is up elevated above a pocket in bedrock. Therefore, the pocket of the bedrock can accumulate water, which will never dissipate.
Mm-hmm.
So what I do is after I've poured my footings, after I've poured my ICF foundation, I always take into accommodation an extra portion of concrete to be delivered on the concrete truck for the pumper truck So while I'm pumping, if I see a pocket on the outside of the foundation that is going to retain water and the drainage tile won't pick it up, then I'll just spill a bit of concrete into that hole and fill it with concrete. Therefore, the water has to rise to the top and stay into the drainage tile system and exit.
Wow,
So,
that's huge. No one would ever know or
no,
know to do that or
no,
see it or whatever, but it keeps it. That's why it's so nice and dry.
it keeps it very dry in the
That's
basement.
awesome.
So
I love stuff like that. That's
all this
great.
place has been done that way. The It was all clear stone that was used in the inside of the foundation in order to pack it up, which has a great. It's like it's just a factor for compaction and allowing for concrete to sit on top, right? And then moving into the garage. The garage was done with 2-inch blue SM, and
What's blue SM?
so it's a styro board,
Okay.
which is offers an R value and an insulation factor for below the in-floor radiant piping, and then there is concrete mesh on top of that, which all the in-floor radiant piping is attached to, and then it's a 6-inch slab, I believe, that we poured all the way through the garage, and that would the garage foundation, because we were doing everything with the ICF. The garage foundation actually, how do I explain this? The concrete slab is poured so that the ICF merges to the top of the concrete slab. So if you can look at how in-floor radiant is done, it's actually an insulated slab, so to speak, because following that you've got a concrete block, which then in turns into a insulated wall system, and the garage is solid spray foam walls and ceiling all the way through. So
So it's high and dry and
yeah, high and dry,
properly made.
wicked foundation to it.
And
Yeah.
then the ceilings are 11.5 feet high.
Yeah, 11 foot, 4.5 or
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah.
And then we
so
just measured the garage doors, so they're 10 by 9 and a bit, I
yes,
think.
9 by 10 one.
Yeah. So that's, you made them big so you could get equipment in and out, and so if you wanted to build something, you could move
Yeah.
it around, right?
Yep,
Right.
exactly.
So then you've got a big crawl space under
Yes,
here.
there's so when designing this house, I looked at the possibility of doing in-floor radiant throughout the house, both floors. However, the cost factor involved in it, I could have done it on a cheap factor. You could have used concrete, and nobody would have been happy, including myself. There is a product by the name of gypcrete, which can be put on top of the substrate, the plywood subfloor. I highly recommend it. It's expensive, and but works incredibly well. Has its thermal value for conducting radiant heat is better than concrete. It's faster. It's easier to work with, lighter weight on the floor structure. However, you still have to have an HRV in your house. You still have to have room for electrical. You still have to have room for plumbing. It just, to negate the crawl space and do it all as a slab on grade wasn't practical to me in my design.
Nice to have some air moving around too, isn't
And it offers you a spot
Yeah.
to store things.
Well, that's
Yeah.
good. I've been told
Yeah.
that storage is key.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
key to happy living is lots of storage. So huge crawl space, well insulated. Then all the rooms are a good size. The ceilings are a nice height. All the floors are solid red oak,
Red
right?
oak, yep.
Yeah, so that's something you often find engineered floors or laminated floors. Nothing wrong with them, but there's nothing like solid
When we
floors.
built it, I tried to do all my experience for the last 20 years up here has been primarily lake builds. On trying to build something rurally that's equivalent to a lake build, a lot of people don't do, and you don't. there's no reason for it. There's lots of beauty in nature. There's lots of people in the world that appreciate not remoteness, but their own personal space.
Mm-hmm.
Then why shouldn't they be able to live in a home that's as good as anything that's on Lake Muskoka or
Mm-hmm.
or
Well,
anywhere else?
it
Right?
sure looks like it would be on the shores of Lake Muskoka from what I've
Thank
seen. The nicer builds. The
So-
windows are beautiful too. Not that you built them, but you
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
nicely put
Yeah.
in. And all the painting, even your painting, is gorgeous. I
Thanks.
personally, I'm not allowed to paint at my house. But that's a whole other story. But everything has been done absolutely beautifully. Even and this is crazy. I know I've been in real estate too long when I'm so interested in septic systems, but the fact that you don't have a pump. I mean, they're known to fail.
Yep.
So the fact that it's all gravity fed, and that you've got the openings, which I had no idea what that was. So
yeah.
thank you. That in case you have some sort of
When we
problem
got
that you
the,
can get in there.
When we got the excavation relatively complete, we started doing. All we had was a limitation for the peak in relation to final grade. So we started doing the elevations backwards in order to see what we could modify in order to accommodate enough fall from the full length of the house all the way down to the corner and then out to a position where the septic could potentially go.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want a pump chamber as the pumps are contained in the ground. Half the time you got to put your ear right on the ground to find out if the pump's actually working or not.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't hear the hum, you're like, oh my God, I got to dig up my pump chamber. I think the pump's failed. And you don't know until it's too late and you get a septic backup.
Yeah.
Well, that's just, to me, not, or you have an alarm on it.
Yeah, you have an alarm,
And
but still, this is more elegant if you can.
If you
call
don't
a
need
septic
it, you don't
system
need
elegant.
it. So we transited the entire property and found the best spot for the septic to have gravity fed system. And
But
and
you know,
it
I
worked.
think that's another thing. I'm sure that if a builder was building just on spec or for somebody else, that they would hopefully most of them do a great job. But I'm not sure that they would measure everything back to make sure that the septic was going to be gravity fed. Like that's just a detail that is
You would hope that they
is
would,
good.
but
Yeah.
I'm notorious for double, triple check.
Yeah.
I hate
So
being wrong.
what else can you think of that
Unique?
is a plus or unique that you wouldn't find in another build that was similar to this?
The insulation factor throughout the house is all bibs. I'm very impressed with the bib system and the loose knit insulation factor of it. The place stays incredibly warm and incredibly cool during the summertime. The roof, being a rafter roof system, which is very unique in here, offering great ceiling lines, and on top of that is a purlon system. So the way I do my purlon system is if you have a rafter or a truss, they run perpendicular to the chords of the truss or the rafter. And basically they are 2x4s on 16-inch centers that run perpendicular to the roof member. Then that being 1.5 inches, you require another inch, which is a 2.5-inch air chase throughout your roof. You have to have good, I don't know if it would be called convection or just natural airflow up and over your peak and exit out through the roof vent. By doing that, you don't get hot spots in your roof, and therefore it's just a thermal barrier that doesn't allow for ice formation. Your shingles will last longer as well. With that being said, this whole place had a purlon system on it that allowed me to cross vent the valleys. So the valleys, which doesn't normally get vented and usually always ice up, they're actually vented in this house, and it works quite well. So then on top of that, being me, I wanted to ensure that there was never a problem. So we put 100% ice and water shield over the entire roof and onto the valleys. So
That's fantastic, because there's nothing more disappointing than ice damage,
Yeah,
particularly with a new place. That happened to us, and it's just so sad. So that's amazing. So is there anything else that you would want to tell a potential buyer that they might not notice when they walked through the place?
This place can be renovated. It's a post and beam concept, timber frame concept. My career was founded on renovations in the beginning, and I don't care who you are, your wife is going to say to you in 10 years that I don't like that bathroom anymore and I want it changed. Somebody's going to say, I don't need a 4-bedroom home, I need a 2-bedroom with a space for crafts. At any given time, homes need to be modified for different reasons. Not everybody owns the same home forever, right?
Yep.
That being said, and my career being founded on renovations in the beginning, I paid a lot of attention to it. So this place, you could have on each side of the landing on the second floor, the upper area, the sitting area upstairs, on each wing of that, you can literally tear out all the walls all the way to the office on the one side. So the bathroom in the 1 bedroom can be gone. That could be a complete open space, with a post, of course, right there at the edge of the
Right.
landing. On the other side, the 2 bedrooms, they could be completely gone. That could be a wide open space. So theoretically, you could do whatever you wanted to do with that space.
Without changing the main structure of the
That's right.
the house.
That's
That's
right.
fantastic.
So,
Great.
so by having that incorporated into your home, good God, if you ask somebody to quote on doing that, I don't even like to renovate a structure like that, you'd be hundreds of thousands for that many square feet, and you know you're ahead of the game with a sledgehammer and an axe.
Well, that's great. Well, it's nice. I'm really excited to represent you because
Thank you.
it's such a beautiful property, but it's also so practical. There's
Mm-hmm.
so many things. So thank you for explaining some of the details. Is
Great,
that it?
thanks.
Is there anything else that came to mind that you would want somebody to know?
Not off the top of my head.
All right.
No.
Well, I think that's more than enough. Thank you.
you.